back to the Swearwolves. I'm Bret. Today's episode is episode 8, Killer VHS Box Art, Chainsaw, and Hellfest. Hell yes. This is Gizmo. Say hi, Gizmo. In this episode, we talk about VHS box art that we loved, just attracted us to movies when we were a kid. You know, you'd go to the video store when you were a kid, and we wouldn't know anything about the movies. We'd just look around, and whatever box looked the coolest. 95% of the time, wouldn't even read what was on the back. I would just look at the artwork on the front and be like, that's a killer movie. And then 95% of that time that I'd rent a movie like that, the movie would be shit. We also talk about a short film from 2015 called Chainsaw that was produced by Eli Roth. You can watch this on YouTube, search Chainsaw Eli Roth, and you'll be able to watch it. So we talk about that, give that a little bit of a review. And then we talk about a movie that was new at the time that we recorded this episode, October 28th, 2018. The movie was Hellfest. So there was kind of a theme between Chainsaw and Hellfest in that they both take place in a haunted attraction. Enjoy episode 8, Killer VHS Box Art, Chainsaw, and Hellfest. Hell yes. Welcome to the Swearwolves Horror Podcast, the podcast that discusses all things horror. I'm Bret.
I'm David.
I'm Alan.
And this week we are going to discuss something that I actually remember fondly of my youth, up until probably my 20s, is going to video stores. You guys were around back in the 80s and 90s, and I'm sure a lot of people who are listening to this were too. Video stores were a big part of my family's like weekend tradition.
Same here.
Every Friday night, every Saturday,
Yeah.
go rent a few movies, and we would just go through the aisles. And video stores, like, maybe it was because I was young, but video stores were huge.
Yeah.
Like some of them.
Yeah.
We had a mom and pop one that we'd go to every once in a while that was smaller. But some of them we'd just go to and there'd be walls
Yeah.
and aisles
Yeah.
of just VHS box art.
Right.
Yep.
And that's how you picked a movie.
It was like touring an art gallery.
Alan, you're not far off.
Yeah.
Because I think at some point in probably the mid 80s to late 80s, they realized people were going to rent movies based on the box,
Yep.
not on the
Yeah,
synopsis.
pre-internet.
Yeah. Pre-Rotten Tomatoes.
People were easily suckered back then.
Yeah. Because you would see something, no matter the genre, and you'd be like, that, I'm going to rent that.
Yeah.
And there'd be posters on the wall, and they'd be sometimes the same posters from the theatrical release, but sometimes they'd be different posters. The box art, some of these movies didn't even have theatrical release. There's a lot of straight to video or just limited release movies. So we thought we'd discuss some of our favorite VHS, I guess you could say, or beta. We had a beta machine. Did you guys ever have a Betamax?
I never had beta. I had VHS.
If we did, I don't remember.
We had beta for the longest time. We were those people who had to go rent movies from that side of the store. We had Betamax, and then eventually we got VHS. But our favorite box art or / movie posters, I went by VHS box art.
Yeah.
That's what I remembered.
yeah, same here.
Mm-hmm.
So one that comes to mind immediately when someone says, name me a horror movie VHS box art that you remember. Chud.
Chud. Yeah.
Yeah, is that the one? It's like a sewer lid.
Yes,
or
and it's
something?
like there's the one of the cannibal humanistic underground dwellers.
I'm glad you mentioned Chud. I was going to put that on my list, but I didn't. But I'm glad you mentioned it.
Yeah, no, Chud. I just remember seeing it, vividly remember seeing it. And you know what? I never rented the movie.
Yeah.
I never rented it. I saw it on TV, I think, one time. Does it have Daniel Stern in it?
I don't know. I've never seen the fucking movie.
I think it does.
I should probably watch it.
The box art was really cool, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the box art. Obviously, I was a kid. I wasn't allowed to watch horror movies. You know, I just rented Nintendo games or kids movies or whatever.
Nintendo games were another one who did that to kids.
Oh yeah,
like the
where
box art.
the art was deceiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But despite that, I would still tour the horror section, because I was intrigued by it.
Taboo.
I wasn't, it wasn't scary, but looking at some of the artwork, it was like, wow, what is this? What is in this movie? And you turn it over and you kind of look at the pictures, and it's like, shouldn't be looking at this.
It was almost like porn. It was almost like porn,
Yeah.
but not porn.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times you flip the box over and look at it and there'd be actual stills from the movie. You're like,
Right.
this movie looks terrible.
Yeah.
Never flip the box over.
Yeah.
No.
But as a kid, when you're looking at the boxes and like Chud, for example, and you see like the creature in the sewer and the sewer caps coming open, you think like when you're a kid, you just imagine.
Have you seen that movie?
Like, no, I have it though. I have Chud 1 and 2.
And you've never seen it?
Well, they're in my queue because I buy so many movies, so many things are getting put out on Blu-ray, like it's hard to keep up. And then you got all the streaming stuff too. But I have Chud 1 and 2. I just haven't gotten to them yet.
Yeah.
But the VHS, the box art is memorable for me.
Did they change the artwork on the Blu-rays?
Arrow, the Arrow label released Chud on Blu-ray. I think it's the same. I think it's a reversible cover. So a lot of these
that seems to be the new thing now.
Yeah, a lot of these
so you
labels.
can flip it. You
Yeah.
can turn it
You
around.
got the original art or like the new reimagined version.
Because like I
Yeah.
bought Silent Night, Deadly Night last year
Yeah,
on Blu-ray, and it's a different cover art because I remember Silent Night, Deadly Night being the chimney with
the axe hanging
yeah.
out.
the arm and the axe.
so
It's actually on my list that I made.
Scream Factory put that out,
Yeah, it's
and
Yeah.
they're one of many labels. They have new artwork for it, but I have that release from Scream Factory, and I open it. Sure enough, you can flip. the
Oh,
label.
I have the Scream Factory one too, so
Yeah,
I can
and
flip it over.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, the chimney artwork is on the other side.
That's going to be coming up. That's in my queue to watch in December.
yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen it. It's a really shitty movie, but I haven't seen Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
It was very controversial when it came out.
My mom, who allowed us to watch horror movies all the time, would not let us watch Silent Night, Deadly Night because she was afraid it would give us the wrong like impression of Christmas.
It would
And-
ruin Christmas.
Yeah, and she didn't want us. She didn't know what the fuck the movie was about. And she used to let me watch Nightmare on Elm Street, but she was like, Silent Night, Deadly Night. No, you can't watch that. You can
Can't
watch
touch that.
You can watch a movie about when you go to sleep, a guy kills you in your dreams, but about a guy dressed as Santa Claus. No,
Is Silent Night, Deadly Night the one? And I might be mixing this up with a different movie, but does it have the scene where the guy grabs the naked woman and like impales her through like a deer head?
Yeah. Yeah.
is that Linnea Quigley?
That's Linnea Quigley.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's Silent Night, Deadly Night, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
a good,
and
that's a
that's-
good kill.
and
Good
you know
kill,
what-
bad movie.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that is like I was watching Silent Night, Deadly Night last year after I got the DVD or the Blu-ray, and by the way, Scream Factory had this awesome deal where you would get the Blu-ray, and I have like collection of figures.
Yeah.
It came with a Billy
That's right. Yeah.
that's
action
cool.
figure, like an
Yeah.
8-inch action figure. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you guys would ever come over, you would see them.
Was that a NECA also?
It was a NECA, yeah,
That's
limited
cool.
release, but they're releasing it. You can buy
As a standalone.
that figure now too.
That's cool.
Anyway, regardless, I was watching that movie and I was like, "This is cool." Linnea Quigley's in it, and there's that whole scene
We
where
love you, Linnea.
there's that whole scene
Just wanted
where
to say
she
that.
gets killed, but it's like that was so unnecessary.
Yeah.
They just threw that scene in there to have a naked chick
Oh yeah.
to get killed.
That's how a lot of these movies are that had the cool
Because
art and bad movie.
Billy, his whole thing is about the nuns, right? Like he goes
Yeah.
back to where he went to orphan school.
Yeah.
And
Orphan school.
and
there's school and then there's orphan school.
and of course Billy's like 6'5" and he goes back and he dressed as Santa and he kills people
And he
with it.
fucks shit up.
And you know what else is like he's not a slasher. Anybody who uses a gun ceases to be a slasher killer, right? Then you're just a murderer. You're just
Right.
like fucking, I don't know, Henry, Portrait of a serial killer, right?
Yeah.
Like Henry Lee Lucas, like shooting people. You're not a slasher. But Silent Night, Deadly Night. I don't know how we got on that one.
Well, it has cool art.
Yeah, I had cool art.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of split mine into cool, good movies, like with good art, and then I had good
Bad
art,
movies
bad
with good-
movies, and that list is longer.
See, I just went with just art that I remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
yeah, for sure.
What was on your list?
Uh,
Would you first have?
the first,
Oh, you were talking about how I mentioned Chud. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
but one that always stands out ever since I was a kid that I always looked at and it always kind of bothered me when I was a kid were the Ghoulies movies.
Oh, I had Ghoulies on there.
Because he had the
Ghoulies on my list.
in
Coming
the
out of the toilet.
Yeah. And when I saw that, I was like, I was afraid to use the toilet.
Oh, of
A ghoulie
course.
was going to
and
pop out and pummel your butthole.
yeah, like when I really had to
just
go,
pummel
I'd try to be as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want any ghoulies to come out and fight me.
You know what's fucked up about that too? And this goes to your bad movies.
Yeah.
Like Ghoulies sucks. By the way, it's a terrible movie. Great box art.
Yeah.
Terrible movie. No ghoulie comes out of the toilet in Ghoulies.
Yeah.
In Ghoulies 2, they do briefly.
Right. Yeah.
Only to go, hey, wait a second. Like the horror show with Sean and Joe.
Oh, yeah.
They talk about, if you guys want to listen to another horror podcast,
That's a good one.
the horror show with Sean and Joe.
Yeah.
Is really good. It's just called The Horror Show, but they talk about Ghoulies and Ghoulies 2. And one of them, I think it's Joe, is talking about how like they just threw in the toilet scene just to make the box art make sense.
It worked.
And what's funny is he's wearing little overalls too. Remember that? We're like little
The
kid
Ghoulies are the
clothes.
worst.
Poor little guy came out of the toilet. He's got shit covered overalls on.
And the Ghoulies was like
I was like, who's this
the
little
horror
monster
movies
baby?
answer to Gremlins, because
Yeah.
Gremlins not a horror. Is it?
It was like a little critter
Like
movie.
Gremlins, Critters, and Ghoulies are all kind of around the same time.
But Gremlins is like a kids movie.
yeah.
It's like a family film.
Well, 2 is one had
One I saw it in the theater with my parents.
no, yeah, but one had a few spooky moments. If you're a kid,
Yeah, one's got some genuine scares.
yeah. But 2 was more lighthearted for sure.
Two's totally
2
zany.
was, yeah,
Is Gremlins a Christmas movie
sure,
Yeah, I think.
yeah.
with Die Hard?
I would justify it that way. I watch Die Hard every Christmas. My wife is always like, "Oh God, here we go again."
She's like, "Did I tell you we're Jewish this year?"
I'm like, it's got a Run DMC Christmas song at the beginning of the movie. It's Christmas.
Yeah. Ghoulie sucks.
Yeah.
As far as one that I think is actually a good movie, but I remember the poster or the box art always sticking out to me when I was a kid. Was Dead Alive.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have that on my
On your
list too.
Yeah,
Brain Dead.
Brain Dead, yep.
Brain Dead.
With the woman's kind of pulling her mouth open and there's like a skull
Yeah.
underneath it. And I always thought that looked really cool. And then by the
And
time
that's a good movie.
By the
too.
time I saw it, I was an adult, and God, I think I'd probably already seen the first Lord of the Rings movie because it's a Peter Jackson movie. And when I watched it, I was like, "Oh, this is really cool, really
Yeah.
cool movie." And it's got the chainsaw, or not the chainsaw, the lawnmower scene at the end, and then
yeah.
And you got the "I kick ass for the Lord" guy.
That movie.
And it's so gross.
Yeah. I got another Peter Jackson one for you. Bad Taste.
Or
Bad Taste.
The guy giving the finger.
Yeah.
Guy giving the finger, but we also had the box art with the 2 fingers.
Oh,
That's
Because
right.
we didn't like
Yeah.
here in America,
They censored it.
the middle finger obviously means fuck you, but I remember at our video store, I looked at it and I was like, why does he have 2 fingers up? Somebody had pasted another finger on there so it looked like the English version of the
Like the peace sign?
but like the reverse where they're like go fuck
yeah.
yourself with
Yeah.
2 fingers. But Bad Taste was always, and another good movie. That movie's
Yeah.
weird.
I like it though.
When they're drinking the vomit,
It's a gross movie.
that is gross. And when the guy's brain like falls out and he like can piece it back and he walks straight, but when he doesn't hold it, that movie is really good. But the box art always stuck out. Another Peter Jackson
Yeah.
classic, better than Lord of the Rings. That movie was too long.
Another one I had was Dolls. Have you guys ever seen Dolls?
I've never seen it, but I've seen the box art many
But-
times. I was like, oh,
So it's like a doll holding an
holding her eye-
eyeball.
yeah, holding eyeballs.
and a
Have you
knife,
seen
I
it?
think. I have.
Okay, I really like that movie.
Do you? I wasn't too crazy about it.
It's a movie where the dolls are horror, but they're good.
They're good, yeah.
They kill like the bad people. I
Right.
remember like watching that movie.
yeah.
I watched it with my sister and thinking like, okay, this is gonna be like Chucky, like dolls attacking people. But the dolls like protect this like little girl.
They didn't harm the little girl and they were protecting her.
Yeah, it was. I actually really enjoyed it.
I thought it was okay. Obviously some of the animation or the
Well, yeah.
it was kind of dated, but overall I was kind of underwhelmed by it. But
Yeah, but the box art definitely
the
is
box
good.
art, yeah, the
With the
box art
doll
always
holding the
stood
eyeballs,
out
yeah.
to me. Yeah.
Oh, you got another one?
I do, but you go ahead and I got another.
And a lot of these I'm gonna just kind of gloss over because they're movies that we've talked about in other episodes. But like Return of the Living Dead, the Evil Dead trilogy, Chopping Mall,
Evil Dead 2 specifically was
with
on mine.
the skull.
With the skull with the eyeballs, and Chopping Mall was on mine as well.
Yeah.
Fright Night. One that I wish we had, after we released our horror comedies episode, I was like, oh my God, how did we go without discussing Monster Squad? And I thought the Monster Squad had a really cool box.
Yeah.
With the kids kind of all standing there in like the cool Monster Squad font.
Monster Squad was one of those movies that I watched, like my parents rented it for me, right? Because I wanted to see it. And it was like, in my head, it was like, if you like this should have been it. If you like the Goonies, you're gonna
like
love
monsters.
You're gonna love the Monster Squad. And I remember watching it. Didn't they needed a virgin?
Yeah.
And like I remember like watching it, not knowing what a virgin was.
Yeah, I think I was the same way when I saw it. I was like, I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, and then
But this girl is one.
but the girl that they were gonna get first wasn't.
Yeah. It's just like,
And then they had to get like a 6-year-old or a 5-year-old. It was kind of weird.
that little girl was cute though. Remember, like there's parts like, don't be a chicken shit.
Yeah, and there's the famous classic
Wolfman's got nards.
Wolfman's got nards. But yeah, no, Monster Squad was definitely cool.
Yeah.
And I got one more.
Go
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna go to a bad one, but
Okay. I got one that I really liked.
yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Oh yeah,
The Breakfast Club.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's the Breakfast Club, and
Right.
it's just I love that movie. If you anybody who's listened to this can't tell.
I think it was on Twitter. Somebody was making fun of that poster and like, oh, this was like the dumbest poster that ever came out. And I thought it was really cool. I was like, I thought it was clever.
Yeah,
Well,
it was clever.
It was clever because, at the time, Toby Hooper and L.M. Kit Carson, right? L.M. Kit Carson, I think it was the writer, and Toby Hooper was basically like satirizing his own movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
And
second one's
he
more
was
of a comedy.
also satirizing that time period of movies. And so the whole box art with the Breakfast Club and it being all this happy horse shit, and he's making this movie about these fucking cannibalistic murdering shitheads. And honestly, like Chop Top, Bill Moseley's character is so fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Bill Moseley's fantastic. In
I
that
love
movie.
Bill
I
Moseley.
love Bill Moseley.
As a human being,
I
love Bill
also, I think we've all met Bill
Yeah.
Moseley. He's the coolest guy ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when he signed it, he's like, he was signing my autograph, and it was that picture from the cover art. He goes, well, now, what do you want me to sign? And I'm like, oh, that's my Bill Moseley, by the way. And I was like,
Sorry, Bill.
I don't know. He's like, well, I can say blah, 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 blah. He goes, or I can say, get that bitch. And I was like, that one. He's like, yeah, I like that one. And he signs it, get that bitch.
Get that bitch.
And I just love that movie.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, though, I didn't like that movie at all.
Really?
Because I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I always have. It's my favorite horror film probably ever. When I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I didn't get it.
Same here. I didn't feel it the first time I saw it, and then I bought it just because it was cheap. And then I watched it again one day, and I was like, "Oh, this movie's pretty funny."
And there's some
Like,
really
it's just
scary
clever.
moments. Like at the radio station when Leatherface first pops out, scares me still to this day.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that part's awesome.
Yeah.
So Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, great box art, great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Alan.
Well, it was a VHS box that I noticed, but the local mom and pop video store that we would go to, they actually had the cardboard standee or stand up for Pumpkinhead.
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
And it was a big creature. And I remember we went in there one night and they had it set up in the horror section, and it's the image of the big creature and it's a cardboard stand up, and I see it and I'm like, holy crap. Like it kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Pumpkinhead didn't look anything like a pumpkin.
No.
Not really.
So
Yeah,
why'd
more
they
of like
fucking call him Pumpkinhead?
he was more of like a demented looking
Kinda like
scarecrow kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he was
kind
like
of a nickname.
17 feet tall.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all like,
Yeah. But that was actually a pretty good movie, and I think it's one of Lance Henriksen's best performances.
Yeah. And the movie starts out really sad.
Lance
Yeah,
Hendrickson's
it does.
the dad, right?
Yeah.
He loses his son
Yeah.
and blames
Yeah.
all these other kids.
Yeah.
It's a really strong performance. It's a great movie.
I agree. That's a movie I didn't like the first time I saw it, and I've grown to appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, I really should get Lance Hendrickson's autograph next time we see him, because we saw him at Mad Monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tried, but he was in and out,
Yeah.
last time.
Because he's really been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's getting up there too.
What else you got, David?
One I've got that is a bad movie. Going back to Alan's flashback of going through video stores and seeing different posters and standees and stuff. There was a mom and pop shop where I grew up called Video Drive Up, and it was a video store that had a drive-through window.
That's pretty awesome.
yeah,
Would you
they get-
reserve the movies online?
Yeah,
Or
and you
not
could-
online.
or you just call
in.
them up and then you could go pick it up at the drive-through. But then more often than not, we would just go in because you'd browse. But I remember one movie whose box art always stuck out to me was Blood Diner.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait a second. That movie's not bad.
No. Well, I've
okay.
transitioned to my bad
Okay.
list. Sorry, that movie's terrible.
Blood Diner?
Yeah,
Oh, that movie's awesome.
you like it? Oh,
It's funny.
I mean,
it's like Frankenhooker.
I bought it. Like, yeah, it's one of those. It's so bad, it's good kind of
Yeah,
things.
Frankenhooker.
But the poster art with the diner and the knife, I thought was really, really cool. And then I never saw it. I just always thought it looked cool. And then when I was in high school, me and my buddies, we would sometimes after school, we'd go to like Blockbuster, and we'd usually pick a trashy horror movie to watch. And that was one, and we finally got to watch it. And I honestly don't remember the movie well, even though I own it. I've only seen it a couple times. But
You're talking about Blood Diner still?
yeah. But the scene that always sticks out to me that I will never forget is there's a scene where a guy like falls in the street and a car goes by with hydraulics and it's bouncing up and down and it's playing La Cucaracha and then smashes his head like a melon.
Blood Diner has the vagina that eats people, right?
I don't remember.
Well, it's not a vagina. It's like her stomach, but it like represents a vagina.
That's funny because you were making the vagina thing at
Yeah.
me, and I thought you were telling me to wrap it up.
No,
I thought I was going on
I was
too
doing
long.
the eating vagina. This nobody can see this, but I'm putting my palms together, and I'm.
It made
it's
me
like-
think of Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, it looks like Audrey 2, but sideways.
or wrap it up.
Yeah, or wrap it up. Apparently,
I don't remember that part. Have you guys seen Teeth? I know.
Yeah,
off topic,
yeah.
but I mean a movie about a.
Yeah, have you seen Teeth, Alan?
I have not.
So it's about this woman who has vaginal. What is it called?
I can't remember what it's called, but she has.
She has teeth in her vagina.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew a girl that had that problem.
And well, it's only a problem for the guy because and only guys that like rape her,
Yeah.
because there's like
Yeah. If you're not a creep, you got nothing to worry about.
yeah, if she likes you, it's fine. But like when this guy's like, well, we could talk about it. We're the fucking Swearwolves. This
Yeah.
guy's like fingering her, and she's like doesn't want him to, and then like it bites his finger off, and then there's a doctor. It was the doctor who bit the finger off too, right? Her gynecologist. What a fucked up movie. All right. Anyway,
You got any more, Brett?
I do.
Okay, go for it.
I got some really good ones.
I do too. I have a few left.
April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that box art. Love that movie. That's one of
Is that the one where she's got the knife behind her back?
and the noose
Yeah.
hairdo. And it's got everybody in the cast, from Biff Tannen to fucking Amy Steele. It's got everybody in the cast sitting around the table. And April Fool's Day is one of the best movies too. Like, I love that movie.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh my God, David.
I'm gonna have to watch it now.
Oh,
But I remember the art very well.
you
It's
gotta
one that I've
watch
always
that movie.
wanted to see.
It is one of the best 80s horror movies, in my opinion.
In fact, I made a list of ones that has cool art that I haven't seen, and that one is on there.
Yeah, that one's really good. Another one, Happy Birthday to Me.
That's also on my list of ones I haven't seen.
I haven't seen it either.
Same with Popcorn.
Popcorn I've seen.
Popcorn, yeah.
That movie's shit. But the box art's really good. Happy Birthday to Me is with the shish kebab going through the guy's mouth.
That's awesome.
I haven't seen that one. And the last one, or I have two more. The last one is mine. The Stuff,
The stuff.
Oh yeah.
with the white shit coming
Yeah.
out of the guy's eyes and mouth. And then my wife brought up one to me. I said, what's a memorable box art? And she said, the one that she remembered most that stuck with her was Night of the Demons. And it was like, Angela's having a party. You're invited. Freddie and Jason are too scared to come or
Yeah.
something.
Does it have like a woman's like demon face or
Yeah,
something?
Yes.
she's
Yeah,
holding
yes.
an invitation.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
I haven't seen that movie.
It's really good. I like it.
I need to watch it.
Yeah.
You guys ever seen Monkey Shines?
Yeah.
Is that
That's
the
Romero.
cover-
Is that Romero?
Yeah,
Isn't it?
it is George
I think
Romero.
it's Romero.
Tom Savini did the effects in it.
Then it's George Romero.
Yeah.
Because they always work together. But it's the monkey
With little
the
symbols.
The symbols, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
No,
It's not,
he's holding a knife.
It's not this.
Isn't he
it's
holding
the-
a
Yeah,
knife?
it's not the vagina mouth thing.
I wish there was video.
I think the monkey's holding a knife on the front. But that one always stood out.
Imagine if it was the opposite of teeth. It wasn't teeth in your vagina. It was a vagina in your mouth.
Yeah, he's got the
it's
pulled the
just
picture up.
symbols, yeah.
It's the symbols. But yeah, I remember thinking that was a really cool box.
We should make the movie of the vagina mouth.
Wait, vagina mouth or vagina moth?
Vagina mouth.
Oh, they said moth, like a vagina that eats your sweaters.
Yeah. No. Yeah, you have to put everything in like a cedar chest.
You got to get moth balls. Oh, there's something there.
Yeah, I think there is. If you have mothballs and you fuck the vagina moth inside a cedar chest, the only thing that kills the vagina moth.
I think I spit a little beer out.
We're so terrible.
No, vagina mouth. So the opposite of teeth. Instead of having teeth in your vagina, you have a vagina inside your mouth. Isn't that the story of Debbie Does Dallas? Oh, Deep Throat.
Deep Throat.
The movie. Isn't that thing she has like a clit in the back of her mouth?
I'm not sure. I have not seen that film.
I haven't either. Alan, do you got another one?
Just one more.
Yeah.
You guys ever seen Gothic
No.
with Gabriel Byrne?
Is Gothic the cover with the little tiny imp who's like,
Yeah, there's there's a woman in the bed. She looks like she's dead or something.
Yeah.
And there's like a little goblin looking guy just kind of like.
I remember that cover.
Yeah. So that one always like kind of weirded me out when I was a kid. I was like, what's this guy?
Do you remember the cover for?
I just pulled it up on my phone. Oh yeah, I do remember that one.
Yeah.
I never saw the movie.
And I actually
creepy little
have it.
bastard.
I
Is the
have
movie
it.
good?
I haven't seen it
Is he
yet.
taking a shit?
It's in the
Like
queue.
he's like crouched on her. What's he doing?
Yeah, look at his nails.
dropping a duke.
Yeah, he's dropping a deuce on her. A little Cleveland steamer.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Like, I'll get you.
Dropping a deuce. But that movie is about Mary. The one of the characters is Mary Shelley,
Okay.
and what they go.
Is it
through
about
that-
them writing the
Natasha
stories?
Richardson.
Yeah, what they go through that night
R.I.P.
inspires her to write.
Yeah, because the whole story is that her and a few other people were all like spending the night at together,
Yeah,
and they said, "Come up with a story." They were all writers.
yeah,
This is the true story. Come up with a story, and she came up with Frankenstein
yeah,
that night, which is a great story,
yeah.
right? It's kind of a fucked up story.
It's a
Not kind of, it is.
tragic story.
Yeah. But anyway, that's a cool box art. Do you remember the movie American Gothic?
Oh yeah, with the pitchforks.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that movie.
Yeah.
That starred Yvonne DiCarlo.
Yes.
I've never seen the movie to be honest, but
And Yvonne DiCarlo was from
It's the old man and the woman on the front, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Addams Family.
Monsters. There's Lily.
She
Munsters.
was Lily Munster. Okay.
Meow.
Yeah, it's but that cover art of American Gothic with them
Yeah.
standing there, like the classic artwork.
Yeah.
I forget who did the original artwork, but I remember seeing that movie. The movie was about like this island where like her and her husband were like fucking psychopaths, and I don't know. It's every other fucking movie in the 80s.
There's definitely a theme to 80s horror for
Yeah.
sure.
There is like a lot of psychopathic families,
Yeah.
which I don't mind. Like I said, my favorite movie of all time is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that's about a psychopathic family. But a movie that came out recently is called Hellfest,
Also has a cool movie poster.
Yeah, it's right.
and also about a psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think of this movie? Let's just cut to the chase here. David messaged us and said, watch this short film. Actually, let's talk about the short film first. He said, watch this short film called Chainsaw.
Yeah, and it came out 2008?
I
I should have researched this. It's a short film.
2008, that long ago?
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody pull it up, but it was a short film and really short. We're talking like 6 minutes, maybe 8 minutes.
And Eli Roth produced it.
He
right?
produced it. Yeah, and it's basically about this guy. The whole film kind of follows just this one guy, so you don't really see his face. You see him walk into an amusement park or like a carnival, and he goes into the haunted house, and he's holding a chainsaw that he pulled from the trunk of his car, and he just walks in. He sits down. He gets his makeup applied, and basically the people working there assume that this guy's an actor who works inside the haunted attraction. He goes in. And then, spoiler alert, proceeds to mow people down with a chainsaw, customers as they go through. And it's real short. You should check it out. It's on YouTube. I just thought it was interesting, and it reminded me of this, Hellfest, which we're about to discuss, has kind of a similar type of theme.
Yeah. So this guy, this kid or whatever he is killing these people inside this haunted attraction, and there's people watching.
Yeah.
Who are just like, wow, the special effects are so real.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh. So
2015, I just looked it up.
Yeah.
So it was newer than I thought.
But they're so jaded,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
mean, you can look for messages.
Yeah, they don't really even care.
Yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, blood,
Yeah,
guts.
whatever.
Maybe there's a little social commentary in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it was pretty good. I like the short
I liked
film.
it too.
I like the fact that what's his face gets killed.
Oh, the guy.
The douchebag?
Yeah, what's that douchebag?
I can't remember that guy's name, but
Yeah,
yeah
but he's a YouTuber. He's a famous YouTuber, and he recently was over in like Japan or whatever and filming like where they all commit suicide.
Yeah, he's a
fucking
he's a real
dick.
asshole.
Yeah, my kid was watching his YouTube videos for a while, and then after that happened, I didn't say anything to my kid about it, and he's like, I'm not gonna watch this guy anymore. He's kind of a dick.
Good for you.
Yeah, my kid's hip. He's with it. He knows what's up.
I thought the movie looked really good. Like the way it was shot, like
Yeah.
just kind of creepy and
The
very
chainsaw,
short.
yeah, chainsaw.
Chainsaw. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that guy got what was coming to him. Like typical retail customer, where the guy says that'll be $40 or $20 promo code. Well, how about you just give us the code?
Yeah, and
It's
doesn't
like-
he hand him the money and like swipe it away real quick?
Yeah,
total dick.
What a douche.
Yeah, it tries to mess with them. That's got some good gore too. Like once the chainsaw, like they show the chainsaw hitting the skin.
Yeah.
Pretty gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely check that out on YouTube. But it brings us to Hellfest. And Hellfest is a new movie. Just came out in the theaters a few weeks ago. And it stars Tony Todd. Well, I guess it doesn't star him. He's in it. Tony Todd, Candyman. He's in it briefly.
He's
Yeah.
like the top, like he's billed, I think, or I don't know if he's
Yeah.
top billed, but
He's in it for all of what, 10, 15 seconds maybe?
it's pretty short.
But it's a movie about this group of kids, college-age kids who go to this traveling horror
Amusement park.
haunted house
Haunted,
attraction
yeah.
maze.
Yeah, like a series. It sounds like multiple haunted houses.
Yeah. And they go to visit this
It's called Hellfest.
Hellfest.
Spoiler alert.
And meanwhile, you do see from the perspective of the killer, right? At one point, kind of like in Chainsaw,
Yeah.
where this person, well, I'm assuming as a guy, this person goes in and they kind of dress in this costume
Yeah.
that some of the other people that work there are dressed in, and proceeds to hunt down and
Yeah.
terrorize and murder individuals. Without giving too much away, that's the basic premise of this movie is this serial killer inside of a haunted attraction. Nobody knows that it's a serial killer. They see him killing people and just think it's part of the haunted attraction.
Yeah.
Kind of a cool concept, kind of something I was telling Alan on the way up here. We were talking about it. Me and a friend of mine actually thought about a horror movie, not that many years ago, actually, with that basic premise. Of course, we never did anything with it because we're
Yeah.
losers. But this is that basic premise. What do you guys think of this movie?
I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun watching it. And every time I go see a movie, I go on IMDb, I go on Wikipedia just to read about it. And one thing I noticed about this movie is it got a lot of bad reviews.
What were they saying?
Well, critics were saying that, same old thing. It's been done before. It's your typical slasher sort of thing. But there was something about this movie I really enjoyed, and it was the aspect of it all taking place at this theme park. And it's been done before. What came to mind when I first became aware of this movie when Dave told us about it was The Funhouse, which is another Tobe Hooper movie.
Tobe Hooper.
And
Ghoulies 2, by the way, takes place at an amusement park.
yeah. So
Great film.
you know, and so the amusement park thing has been done, but there was something different about this one. They really went all out with it. I asked my buddy, is there places like this around the country, like this extreme, you know, to where they actually scare you this severely? And he's like, yeah, there's a few places like that. And I thought it was really cool because I'd never known about places like that before.
Don't we have one in Arizona here?
I think we do.
I'm not sure. I know there's one in California where you got to sign a waiver and everything, and they can touch you. And
don't they have like that mythical 13 floors? Like if you can make it to the 13th floor of this haunted house.
There is a 13th floor, in Phoenix. And oddly enough, I went to lunch for Chipotle. I went to Chipotle today before, and there is a worker at the Chipotle down the street who works there.
Yeah, what'd they say?
That she works there. No, I didn't ask her specifics about the place. I was just wearing a horror-related shirt, and she's like, "Oh, you like scary movies and stuff?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, I work at the 13th floor." Like, oh, that's cool. And then she wrapped my burrito perfectly. Great.
But there were definitely some thrilling moments, and there were moments of suspense where, you know, I was wondering, is this part of the show or not? Is this part of the act? So it had some good moments. Yeah, of course, you know, the slasher thing's been done many times, but that dynamic of this whole environment and the setting that they used, it kept me interested, and I thought it was fun.
Okay, fair enough, David.
Similar. I liked it. Much like Alan, I looked up there. I usually try to avoid this stuff, but I looked at IMDb and I was like, oh, it's a...
Yeah, I'll do it after.
And it had like a 5.5 or 5.6, 5.7, something like that. So I was like, I wasn't really expecting very much. And then I went in, and I'll be honest, the first third or so of the movie, I was like, it's okay. But I got more and more interested as it went along. I thought it was a very well shot movie. In our last episode, we talked about Halloween and how most of that movie was filmed in the dark.
Yeah.
You know, I mentioned I thought they did a good job where you could still tell what was going on. This movie was very similar. I love all the colors. All the lighting in the movie was fantastic. I thought they did really an excellent job of recapturing what it feels like to be inside of a haunted house when you're walking, you know, not knowing what's around the corner. I thought the actors, you know, acted like people who are going through a haunted house. So you kind of hug the wall and like, oh, you know, you go through the next
push
room
someone
first.
else through first.
Yeah. There were, and then I thought the Tony Todd cameo, I wish was longer. I thought he was cool in the movie, and I'd like that his voice is throughout the movie, so he kind of narrates a lot of the.
So his presence was there.
Yeah.
Dave, I don't know if you felt this way, but when I was watching it, I felt like I was almost there.
Yeah. You know, kind of like, that's what I meant. Like it captured the feeling of being inside a haunted house.
I was interested. I was like, okay, where are they going to go next? You know, and they're describing, oh, we got to do this, and I wanted to see where they're going to go. It was really interesting to me in that aspect. Something
that a trope that's common in horror that bothers me, and it bothered me at first in this movie, and then I thought as it went on, I was more bought in. Was a lot of horror movies you fall into the cliche of you have this group of friends and they're all very different. And you're like, these people would never be friends in real life. And I felt that way when the movie started. But as I got going, like I thought there was good chemistry with the cast too. Or like, I felt like these people could be friends.
Yeah.
And they would want to hang out, and these people would go to a park, you know, an amusement park like this together.
It literally felt like I was there and I was watching this group of kids. Well, they're like probably early college students.
Yeah, I think they're all college age,
like early 20s. But yeah, it felt like being there, and you know, none of the characters were overly annoying. It just felt like, you know, a normal group of kids.
And there's one that starts out that annoys me, and then as the movie goes on, she bothers me less. And then at the end,
is that the short hair girl?
Yeah, and towards the end, I was really rooting for her.
So she is in the TV show Scream.
Oh, okay.
On MTV. If you've ever, I don't know if you guys have
ever
seen it.
I think maybe once.
Yeah. So there's a TV show. I think it's only 2 seasons so far. I don't know if they're making a 3rd season based on Scream, the movie, loosely based on that. And she's one of the stars of that. I didn't really care for this movie. I thought, meh.
Yeah.
It's, and my wife put it best. She's like, this is like, I Know What You Did Last Summer. This is like that bullshit. It's just another teen or early 20s romp. where there's a masked killer and it's like.
But what I liked was, but most of those horror movies of that age, the plot is very contrived. And I like that this one, that was the whole gimmick, is we're going to put all these people in a place where stuff should happen and then we'll let things happen. So
yeah, I guess
I thought it was easier to buy in.
If I had to give one thing to the plot, would be that it took place in this traveling haunted show. The problem that I have with it is that it's all typical.
Yeah, there was nothing like, as far as like the kills go, there was nothing really.
And this
original.
is from a guy who likes Friday the 13th movies, and every Friday the 13th movie is the same.
There were a couple of good kills, but I thought the violence was a little toned down, and that was gripes that I'd read online of other people thought they could have done more. And maybe we get an unrated cut or something, and there's a little more gore.
Here's the deal though, and you were speaking about our last episode. We were talking about Halloween, the original Halloween. There wasn't a lot of gore, and I love that movie. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's not a lot of gore.
Yeah.
It's called the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Nobody gets killed by a chainsaw. Well, Franklin, maybe. Right? He gets split.
He gets a real good.
It has its moments.
But you don't see it.
Right.
The thing about gore is that I think gore is kind of a sellout.
Yeah. Sometimes it's scarier when it's implied.
Yeah. I don't like when it's overdone.
And when the movie is good, you don't need the gore.
Right.
It's not that I thought the movie was bad. Don't get me wrong. The movie's fine.
Yeah.
The problem that I have is like the lack of creativity sometimes. Does that make sense? Like,
you wanted to see a little bit more.
Yeah, the movie, it was a throwback. Like, there was really nothing new.
It's a throwback to late 90s horror movies is what it is.
Yeah, and it didn't really bring anything new to the table, but I did...
Does it need to? Probably not.
Yeah.
Was it better than a lot of the other bullshit that's come out recently? Like, I saw a movie... What was that movie called? The Noose, the Gallows.
Okay.
Gallows.
The Noose, the Gallows. I saw this movie, The Gallows, and it was one of the worst pieces of shit that I've ever seen in my life. And was that movie better than this? Yes. Will I watch Hellfest again? If I can even remember the name of the movie. Will I watch Hellfest again? Probably.
I would watch it again.
Yeah, I'd watch it again.
I'll probably maybe even add it to my collection.
I plan to buy it.
But it's not... Again, it's part of that Scream. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
Hellfest.
Well,
like you can lump them all together.
Here's the thing, though. This is the first movie that I have seen where I noticed that the main characters actually, they look like children to me. So as I get
that
older,
means you're getting old,
right?
But they're all good looking.
But when
damn it,
Scream
Chris.
came out, when I Know What You Did Last Summer came out, when Urban Legend came out, all those movies came out.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Like these
all
are
of
high
those
school kids who
people-
are like are in their late 20s.
But all those people I identified as older people than me. Even when I was in high school and those movies were coming out, and even in my early 20s.
You're like, Nev Campbell is not 17 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
I saw them as like adults.
Yeah,
I was still a teenager.
Or at the very least, contemporaries. Right?
Yeah.
This was the first movie that I've seen where the main
You're like,
characters,
oh, look at these kids.
They look like they're the age
they
they're playing.
look like children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you a good example, okay? A movie that I watched the other night, you brought it up earlier, Cabin in the Woods. That movie has all these tropes of these teenage slasher films,
Yeah.
but that movie did it in a creative way.
Yeah.
Cabin in the Woods was fucking awesome.
Agreed.
Hellfest was good for what it was,
Mhm.
but it was just what it was.
Yeah, it's not Cabin in the Woods. For sure. It's not on that level.
No, it, again,
But
if you
entertaining.
take Scream, Scream 2, Scream 3, I Know What You Did Last Summer, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legend, all the way through Urban Legend 5, and throw Hellfest in there,
Yeah.
that's the genre.
Yeah. The only thing is, in Hellfest, I thought the characters came across to me as more realistic and more true to
How
what.
would you know, you old man?
Well, no.
I know what you're saying.
I'm talking about compared to Scream, compared to.
I agree with you because
Yeah.
there was something, and I remember being conscious of it as I was watching the movie. I was thinking of, and I'm not going to give anything away, but towards the end, there's a part where a character has to make a decision, and I remember thinking,
do this,
and
they
you
did.
dipshit, and they did, and
Okay,
and there were a few of those in the movie where it's like I thought the person
Yeah.
behaved like a person
Exactly.
really would,
And this
would
goes
if they were
back
in
to
that situation.
Halloween.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I enjoyed about this movie
Yeah.
is compared to Scream and all those, all those
Yes.
late 90s and those movies.
Gotcha.
That these kids came across as more real to me. I used to work at a record store a few years ago and we had a staff of kids similar age. So I remember working with those kids, and that's what these kids reminded me of those kids I used to work with.
Nobody was Jamie Kennedy in this movie. Nobody
Right.
was the fucking douchebag who
Right.
was, here's the rules.
Yeah,
to survive
you didn't have
Hellfest.
Yeah, you didn't have like the spiky haired,
douchebag.
jock or
Yeah. I agree with that. And I think, David, you mentioned this on our last episode. The writing's getting smarter.
Yeah, the characters.
Even though we're
were,
talking about a teen romp of a horror movie, the writing is getting smarter for these kids.
yeah, and I liked them. I thought the music was cool. The music's by Bear McCreary, who does the Walking Dead music.
Oh, okay.
But they did a cool mix of original, like kind of ominous score music mixed with like a modern EDM kind of dubstep music that'll probably sound very dated very soon. But in the context of the movie of being in the park, I thought that also kind of added to the energy of like as soon as you got the happy kind of upbeat stuff, and then the next minute you got the real dark kind of ominous shit.
I thought the music
I thought was a
great.
neat mix.
Okay, so question for you. If you had your choice between this genre of film, and I'm lumping this in with Scream and Urban Legend and stuff, this genre film or the 80s kind of teen slasher films, right? Slumber Party Massacre, Sorority House Massacre, even Friday the 13th. I'll throw a Nightmare on Elm Street in there. Which version do you prefer? The new version of these
Like the
late
teen
90s
slashers?
teen slashers, or the original, I guess, dating back to Halloween teen slashers?
If I want a thrill and if I want a sense of realism, I would say the modern stuff right now. But I would say Hellfest first and foremost. I wasn't a real big fan of, I Know What You Did Last Summer and some of the Scream sequels. I didn't really care. But, as I said, like it just seemed more realistic, this movie.
Okay.
And it seemed like, it seemed like these are how the kids would be.
Okay.
So it was fun to watch, and it was just fun to see what they were going through.
One thing I'll give Hellfest, and this kind of brings it back to the round of being more real, is that they don't speak like they're part of Dawson's Creek.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
They speak like real kids.
The dialogue
almost.
was realistic.
There was a little over the top acting, a little over the
Yeah.
top, like the girl, the short haired girl, and her boyfriend.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were a little.
they were a little too
bit
excited.
much at times.
yeah.
Yeah.
But one thing that I will give credit to this movie. Well, should I even say this?
Say it.
Do it.
Well, I don't want to give a spoiler away, but spoiler alert.
I'm glad. I think I know where you're going. I'm glad you're bringing it up because I was going to if you weren't going to.
The killer isn't their best friend.
Yeah.
There's like, this isn't giving anything away, but it's not like, oh, it was
the
Jane.
boyfriend the whole time.
Yeah.
And I was a little worried that they were going to do that
Yeah.
too. And then at the end, I was relieved that they didn't go there.
I think that's a good point to make, and I like that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's almost becoming a trope now of like, oh, it was so and so.
Yeah.
And then kind of along the similar lines of that, it would be something that annoyed me at the beginning of the movie was, and this isn't a spoiler, the killer doesn't talk in the movie. That's a slasher trope in and of itself. But he sings and he kind of makes like a humming Pop Goes the Weasel song, which I'll be honest, annoyed the fuck out of me the first few times he did it. And I was like, dude, stop with the Pop Goes the Weasel. It's played out, bro. But they bring it back in the end without, I'm not going to say how, but if you see the movie, I thought the way that they bring that full circle was really cool and took me by surprise. For a dumb, modern horror movie, to throw just a little twist for us, I thought was kind of clever. At the end, I didn't see that coming.
So maybe I don't hate the movie as much as I was saying I hate the movie.
Yeah.
Yay.
But
Hellfest!
Best
movie ever, Brett's favorite movie.
no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of Brett's picks.
No, it's not.
Do you have any final thoughts about it? Now that we've discussed it, you got any different perspective?
It's not awful. But I maybe I
Put
just
that
don't
on
like the genre.
Put that on the box when it comes out.
Yeah,
The
it's not
Swearwolves.
awful.
It's not awful.
Maybe I just don't like the genre.
Yeah,
And maybe it's because I am older.
I think the genre's changing.
You old bastard.
I think the
Yeah.
genre's changing just a little bit. I mean, you're not seeing the kids from Scream anymore.
And I don't want to see those kids
Right,
either.
Right. I didn't see them in this movie.
Those kids are 50 years old.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Those kids.
Yeah.
Skeet
The
Ulrich.
third-eyed
just-
blind, Skeet Ulrich.
Skeet Ulrich is part of AARP at this point.
Skeet Ulrich.
What the fuck happened to Skeet
Gavin
Ulrich?
Rosdale lookalike.
Gavin Rosdale.
He looks like
it's a
Gavin
little-
Oh,
Rosdale.
he
Johnny
looks like
Depp.
Johnny Depp,
Yeah, Johnny Depp too.
who was also in a horror film.
Yep. That's
Nightmare on
right.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep.
And
Glenn.
Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's Dead.
Oh, yeah. A little cameo.
Yeah.
Just say no
Glenn.
to drugs or this is your brain on drugs, right?
Yeah.
So, how many Voorhees heads would you give Hellfest?
Okay, so I hate to give it 2 because
Why
2
even
is-
think about giving it 2?
I always forget. Are we on a scale of 1 to 5?
5.
1 to 5, yeah. 1 to 5.
I'd hate to give it a 2, but I can't give it a 3, so 2.5.
2.5. Okay. Dave?
See, I'd go 3. I was going to say 2.5 also, but
But knowing that I give it 2.5.
but knowing how much Brett didn't like it, I just want to one up him a little bit. So I'm going to go 3 Pamela Voorhees.
All right. I'm going to do 3.5.
Ooh.
Yeah, I thought it was solid.
Okay, wait a second.
I thought it
Wait.
was good.
Wait.
What?
What'd you give Halloween 2018?
4.5.
Oh, you gave it 4.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what did we go? We went 4,
We
4
went
and a half?
4
You guys went 4.
for.
I was like 4 1/4. I think I was like,
Yeah.
between a 4 and a 4.
But if I gave Halloween 2018 a 4,
Yeah.
and you're giving this a 3.5,
Well, that's your rating. That's my rating. So,
we're on a different
you're
scale.
no Gene Siskel.
but somewhere in 3 and 3.5. I'll just put it there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
It's good.
People should watch it. That's
Yeah.
what 2.5 means to me. Watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's decent.
If you want to watch something, why not watch this?
Yeah.
You could watch worse.
Yeah.
That could be on the box also.
You
could
could watch
worse.
worse. It's not Troll 2.
By the way, I started.
It's better than Blood Diner.
No.
Oh.
Don't speak such ill about Blood Diner.
I'm going to watch that tonight and be like, oh, this movie's fucking brilliant.
If you think Blood Diner is brilliant like I do, or if you think Hellfest is the second coming
Yeah, or pure crap.
or pure crap, you can contact us. David.
I'm not saying either.
You can contact us a few different ways. You can follow us on Twitter at The Swearwolves. We're also on Facebook, The Swearwolves. We are also online, www.theswearwolves.com, or you can email us at swearwolvespodcast@gmail.com.
And please rate us, review us on iTunes.
Tell your friends.
or whatever
Tell your lovers.
platform.
Tell your mother.
Tell your enemies if you don't like us.
or whatever platform you listen to us on. Please rate us and review us. For the Swearwolves this week, I'm Brett.
I'm David.
I'm Alan.
Hellfest sucks.
Or does it? All right, hold on. Let me do this.
But everybody right now is a sucker for nostalgia.
On this week's episode of The Swearwolves, hold on. Sorry. On this week's episode of the Swearwolves, we discuss movies that had cool box. Fuck that. Hold on. On this week's episode of the Swearwolves, we discuss VHS-ish. On this week's episode of the Swearwolves, we discuss VHS box art for horror. God damn it. Holy shit, how does this speak a sentence? I don't know. On this week's episode of the Swearwolves, we discuss horror movies with cool VHS box office.
Alan, can you record it?
Holy fuck. No! We're doing it live. Fuck it. We're doing it live. We'll do it live. Fuck it.